Stay in the cut on the north side. Hella points, trigger fingers on my fucking throat. 5 demons rising out the crypt. I smoke me up.
All right.
Like never.
All right. I think we've seen enough, right? But yeah, it's just crazy, dude. I guess I just have taste. What's the fruit fag up to?
The average cost of college in the United States is $36,436 per student per year, including books, supplies, and
So he's on Vyvanse. He's just on drugs. So he's still trying to figure out why Candace Owens lied.
rate of 2% over the past 10 years. The average in-state student, attending a public four-year institution spends $26,000 for one academic year. The average cost of in-state tuition is $9,678. Out-of-state tuition averages $27,000. The average private, non-profit university student spends a total of $55,000.
Oh, guys, send me that tech code AI assistant thing somebody sent me.
Living on campus, $39,000 for tuition fees. Considering student loan interest and loss of income, the ultimate cost of a bachelor's degree can exceed $500,000. What a weird and stupid thing to say, but okay. For these that are like in between, I could look it up, but like, yeah.
Right. You had a debate with Anthony Beloke and
A billion other things, and yeah.
Things to research in the future. College education. Immigration and U.S. border issues. U.S. history, Iranian history, porn addiction. Dude. It's like, you know what it is? Pause. This is a dramatic pause for me to pour water into a bottle. This is the way you learn, right? Cause and effect. Is, you know, you do this, you do something, and as a result, you know, this happens, this happens, this happens, right? You do this, something else, right? You do something else. And then this happens, but this doesn't happen. And so after doing a lot of things, you know, just this happens when you do this. When this happens, all three happens. All three things happen. When you do this, all these two things happen, and then something else over here happens. You know, and you learn cause and effect. You're like, oh, well, this, you know, this causes all three things. This causes these three things, but, you know, not all the same. Then the similarity of these things, like the similarity that, you know, doing A causing, you know, you do this and it causes that, and you do something similar and something similar happens. You start to learn cause and effect, right? You start to learn, if I drop a ball, if I drop something, right? I hold this, I drop it, it falls, right? So you start to learn, wait, so is it just this or no? Is this going to float upwards? No, this drops too. So you learn cause and effect. And you say, well, gravity's a thing because you drop something. This is cause and effect, basic physics. I slap somebody, they're not going to be happy. I'm mean to somebody, they're not going to be happy. I suicide bait, I get donations. All right, it's cause and effect. And as a result, you kind of get an intuitive sense of the world. The problem with that is when you start to live your life and you run into a black person. You see a black person and they beat somebody up. You see a black person and they don't know how to read. You see a black person and they're kind of loud in the subway. They're loud at the movie theater. You see a black person on TV and it turns out they got killed because they were disobeying cops. And you start to see cause and effect. You start to say, oh, black is bad. So naturally, you understand black people are bad. But then if you say that, you could lead to this cause and effect thing. Uh-oh. Angry people. You can't say that. You can't say that. And then as a result, you kind of break your brain, you know, if you're not a red-pilled goy, if you're not an alpha male. You start to unlearn it because, oh, well, you know, if I do this, if I think critically, then I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to be punished. Oh, if I say Jews run the media, I'm going to be punished. If I say the Holocaust didn't happen, well, all this stuff doesn't make sense. Well, it must mean the Holocaust is fake. Oh, you can't say that. And so you break the ability to naturally think. You break the ability to say, oh, girls who have tattoos are probably not worth marrying. Oh, oops. Girls who have tattoos probably had lots of weird relationships, probably did drugs. probably have mental problems. Oh, can't do that. So you start, that's cause and effect. And your brain naturally does it with things. It sees patterns. Some people see more patterns than others. It's called schizophrenics, and they're crazy. But essentially, that's, how your brain works. And society then, if you're socialized and you want to fit into society, you essentially have to say, actually, stop. Black people, they're good. Jews, they are super smart and super successful, but they also don't have disproportionate power. They're actually not bad. The Holocaust did happen. Fingernails do scratch cement. That is real. Jews don't run the world, even though if I say anything about any other group of people, I'm totally fine. But if I say stuff about Jews, I'll get in trouble. They don't have power. They're not like abusive. They're not bad. All that stuff. So you break your brain. You don't think critically, and now it's just whatever society says. You outsource this thing to society, to Reddit, to upvotes. That's an R, not a B. And then as a result, you end up like this. You end up saying, I need to research porn addiction, instead of just saying, when I've jerked off and I've looked at porn, I feel tired afterwards. It's a waste of time. It makes me think unhealthy thoughts about women, unhealthy thoughts about myself. It probably does have certain things. So I've done drugs, and you feel you enjoy the drugs, but after the drugs, you feel kind of gross. You feel kind of tired, and it doesn't really seem to benefit my life. I wonder if there's a mental thing. Yeah, there definitely is some sort of mental problem with bad habits. And that's cause and effect. That's basic reasoning. But if you can't do that because you're retarded, and you're a libtard, you have to, when you're 35 years old, have an Obsidian file where you're going to research porn addiction. And that's, as a result, you're just retarded and you can't think for yourself. And you have to go find a Wikipedia page about how looking at porn is bad. You have to go to Wikipedia to find out that looking at things that titillate the mind, or doing things that change your brain chemistry. And so you essentially, yes, you get accepted into this polite society. Not really if you're Destiny, but you don't get, you're not a Holocaust denier. You're not a Nazi. You're not a sexist. You're not a homophobe. But you also, there's the good side. You're not punished. The bad side is you're kind of retarded and you hurt yourself. So you take your punishment up front, and you take your licks, and you learn to critically think, despite even strong emotional incentives not to critically think. And as a result, your life ends a lot better. Like, Nick's life seems like it's a lot better now than 4 years ago. I can say for myself, my life is way better now than it was when I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and like in college, or when I was going crazy as a result of being obsessive about certain things. So the punishment was up front, and as a result, it's still not perfect, right? But it's way better now, and my life gets better every year. Every single year. I can't post going to jail, post going crazy. Every single year has been better than the last. And I don't suspect that's going to change. Now, there'll be bad things that happen. Maybe I'll lose a leg. Maybe I'll get shot. Maybe I'll be paralyzed. But maybe I'll, somebody I care about, they'll get sick, or somebody will start to hate me or something like that. Or I'll lose all my hair. But my life is objectively better because I'm thinking critically. I'm able to do cause and effect on myself and on other people. And because of that, I can build a better model of the world. And because I can build a better model of the world, I can make better choices. This is a man who's 36 years old, and it needs to put in his Obsidian file how to look at porn addiction after losing his second wife to a Swedish cross-dresser and being mogged by a black woman in his house last week, who he's now spending 6 hours trying to figure out if she went to college.
Like saying, considering student aid.
And this is what happens
rant.
when you won't say nigger. Actually, he says nigger, so this is what happens when you won't say kike.
Thing. It's just meaningless.
Imagine like being his great grandpa, like raping slaves in Cuba, the Jewish Chad, being like BAP, just like impregnating random Cuban slaves. And then you have a dream right before you die. This is like what caused his great grandpa to die, his Jewish great grandpa, slave owner. He like has a vision of his great grandson being Destiny, and his heart stops and just goes to hell.
Interest, etc. The average cost of attendance for a student living on campus at a public 4-year in-state institution is $26,000. I wonder how they calculate books and supplies. Do colleges post like what your average books and supplies would be, or would it just vary from major to major? Or
if you ever want an argument against slavery that isn't like logical and it's just kind of funny, just look at all the descendants of slave owners, dude. It's like Ben Shapiro, Destiny. They're just like fags. They're retarded freaks.
All right, let's just look. Cost of attendance.
It's like, yes, somebody will pick your cotton, but your great grandkid will be Stephen Bennell. Please, I want to pick my own cotton, please. The sugarcane fields, I can take care of them, okay?
From you, what is it? I wonder how it's pulling this data.
Shapiro is a descendant of slave owners? I don't know, dude. He's Jewish.
Let's see. U.S. Department of Education, University of Florida, cost of attendance.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good
Is the
song.
Department of Education going to be a .gov? It would be, right? What is your top level domain? TLD? Can I search for that? Would this work? No, I don't think so. Oh shit. But we got something. Federalstudentaidpartners.edu.
This is my least favorite life, the one where you fly and I don't. A kiss holds a million.
Let's see. The cost below reflects
deceits,
estimated
and
expenses.
a
Your cost may
lifetime goes up
vary. Need.ed.gov.
in smoke. This is my least favorite year, who floats far above earth and stone. The nights that I twist on the rack is the time that I feel most at home. We're wandering in the shade and the rustle of falling
It's
leaves.
the primary federal entity for collection of data related to
On the edge of a blade, lost now forever. My love.
What? How expensive is a college degree? Dude, is college degree economically advantageous? Yeah, take the shotgun option, dude.
The station pulls away from the train. The blue pulls away from the sky. The whisper of two broken wings. Maybe they're yours, maybe they're mine.
This is what he does? Yeah, I know, dude. He's retarded.
This is my least favorite life.
Yeah, I'll probably.
I'm so glad he got
like
five.
larger, more
The
macro.
one where I'm out of my mind.
Our trade superior to bachelor.
You're just
Yeah. The funniest thing is like all these questions are completely contextual to the person. It's like there's no one answer. There's like very few questions, and those are questions of morality, which is like, should I be sodomized? Should I sodomize people? Should I cheat on my wife? Should I cheat on my husband? Should I steal this? Should I lie? Should I be a pedophile? Should I be a rapist? Those are all like very like easy answers, very specific. Should I work hard or should I be lazy? Like that's a general question, but everything else is like, what hairstyle looks best on me? It's like that. What type of car is best to drive? It well depends on where you are. It's like everything he's asking is like retarded, dude. Is it good for money to start a business? Is it good? Is money good for buying things?
User info. Huh.
Dude.
Are you in source mode? No, I don't think so.
birds on a wire.
Tables suck. Just get the plugin
Tries to
advanced
fly
tables.
away, and the other wire says he wants to as well,
Core,
but
would this be like a core
it's
plugin?
a liar. I'll believe.
He's searching for plugins, dude. This is so funny.
Insert.
It's so funny too because being in tech, it's like, or being interested in tech stuff, it's like every single person always says like these note things are always a waste of time. And it's so funny. It's like every single person who uses these long term says this is a complete waste of time. And I spent way more time organizing retarded stuff. The only real note taking software you need is a notepad, physical or notepad itself. Literally just a text file and Control F stuff and just write what you want. And literally just Control F stuff. You'll find every single thing you need.
And the other says I'm tired. The sky's overcast, and I'm sorry.
Making a table, dude. making an Excel spreadsheet.
Nobody's worried.
Make sure it has the proper.
What
Dude,
is Zimify?
It all
Literally.
Zimify is an immunoglobulin.
Oh my
or
God,
IG
who's
therapy.
talking?
IG is a scientific term.
I'll believe
yeah, Regina Spektor's awesome.
it all.
Okay, so we'll have dollar amounts down here.
Won't let go of your hand.
Do we do like raw tuition versus cost of attendance as well?
Do
Or
birds of a feather say that they're always gonna stay together, but one's never going to let go of that wire. He says that he will, but he's just a liar. Two birds on a wire. One tries to fly away, and the other watches him close from that wire. He says he wants to as well, but he is a liar.
Sometimes Paul makes fun of people for doing things I do, and I don't do them anymore because I feel dumb. Well, I just realized everything I'm talking about is because I thought about it because I'm retarded. Like all my thoughts about things are like because I don't have like instincts. I don't have instincts. I don't have intuition, and so as a result, I had to build like a bunch of like try to figure stuff out mentally because I don't just get stuff. And so I don't. It's like coping. It's really just coping to know stuff.
then the 4-year in-state cost.
It's coping to be a genius. But once again, this is like the whole
kinda
wisdom
weird.
versus knowledge thing. Wisdom is how to apply knowledge. Knowledge is just factoids. But this is like the difference between a smart person and a stupid person is not how much they know. It's there's two paths of going about things. It's just on one side, what, right? What? That's one side. You can focus on that. You know, what year did this happen? What year was the Holocaust? Every year. What year? Who was the third president? And then that's just like factoids. That's trivia, retard, Ken Jennings, fag stuff. That's Destiny stuff. And then why? The proper way to go about things, in my opinion. Why and how? You want to be like figuring out why stuff happens, you know. And it's kind of the same thing, but it's worth separating the two. Which, you know, why am I unproductive? Why am I lazy? Why do I feel bad? Why do I feel tired? You know, how am I making myself tired? How do I, you know, make money? Why are things this way? Why are people mad at me for saying the N-word? How do I stop them from being mad at me? Well, I can stop myself saying the N-word, or I can trick them into thinking I'm black. See, there's two hows, right? So then you choose the best of the hows. But why is a much better question. Why is it this way? You know, and then that's when you learn cause and effect, which is just like physics, which is, you know, you drop this, it falls, right? You let go of it, it falls. Same thing. It's like you can repeat it. It's the basic stuff, and it's the same thing with interacting with people. You're nice to somebody, they're probably gonna like you. You help somebody out, they're probably gonna be grateful. in a graceful way, that sort of thing. What is just like stupid. What is factoids? Now, what is useful in terms of why and how? Because if you figure out why and how certain things work, then when you look at what happened, you can probably figure out or get a good glimpse at stuff. Like, you basically, what's happening is Jordan Peterson is speaking in front of Congress. Why is that happening and how is it happening? Well, he has connections to Ben Shapiro. He's linked up with that. Is it really to, fix anything? No, it's probably because the people want a clip. Thomas Massey and Jim Jordan and all those people, they want to have him speak, and they'll get some favor in the future. That sort of thing. It's like, what is stupid? Why and how is what you actually want to focus on, because you start to abstract out cause and effect. A goes into a machine, a function machine, right? A function is just like things happen to something, an invisible box, and it goes into here, and it comes out, A to the second power. B goes into f of x, which is just the function box. Then basically B comes out, B to the second power. You do that enough and you start to realize, oh, wait a second. F function of x, which is the how. If I think about this enough, I can probably think, equals x to the second power. That's all that is. That's what the function is. That's what's happening here. And that's just the same thing with that. It's the same thing with everything. Everything is just this. Everything is just something goes into something and something else comes out. And if you do enough things, you start to see similarities, and then you start to figure out, oh, wait a second, and it's everything's just very basic cause and effect. Everything is very, very basic, and it's not really complicated. And it's just a bunch of different little things. Like even this, even an LLM. This is very complicated. It's very cool, right? Write me a sonnet, or write me a poem that rhymes. That is surprising. Submit. You must submit. This kind of looks crazy, right? What's happening? Nothing. You just click the button, nothing happened. Why did it not work? It's a mystery. What? It didn't work on March 12th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This didn't work. That doesn't really mean anything. Why didn't it work? That's a better question. It's probably because I'm not logged in anymore. It's probably because it basically, so then I try it again. I refresh the page, right? It didn't work. I wanted to get it to work. I made it work by refreshing the page. All right, well, how? So refreshing the page, why did that change it? Well, probably because the cookies or the server was like not set up to take in the information. And now I know, I got to make sure that I don't leave it off. But that's just an example I wasn't making. But like even this is complicated, but it really isn't. It really is just a crazy amount, a huge amount of very, very simple, linear algebra, which is too complicated for me. And all it results in is just this matrix of values from 1 to 0, essentially. I could be wrong, but I think this is essentially it. And, I'm not doing it properly, actually. But yeah, from 1 to 0, and it just travels the path. It's very simple. Everything is super simple. Everything from what you make, right? You look at a meal, French cuisine. What is French cuisine? I don't know exactly, but how is it made? Well, it's a lot of different steps. What is a really complicated dish? Something like this. What is this exactly? I couldn't tell you the exact ingredients, but you can know how it's made. You grind up olives, you grind up food. Why? Well, they want to take it into different flavors. If French like different flavors, what it is doesn't really matter. How and why matters. And it's much more, once you start to tease out cause and effect, you start to tease out mechanics and physics, very basic physics. You drop something and it drops. Then you start to figure out stuff. Or you can do What is the price for a bachelor's? Let me make a table. And you just end up like a fag.
Oh, and this is also
just-
in-state versus out-of-state. Oh,
See what I mean, though?
holy fucking AIDS.
Ooh, this is a new song. I've never heard this person. Is it good? Let's see. Nah, I can't do this.
Okay, so we've got in-state. We've got private university. Private universities never charge the difference between in-state and out-of-state, right?
Yeah, it's like Protocols of the Elders of Zion. What are they? I don't know. Are they real? Yes. I don't need to know that.
Like an angel, your skin makes me cry.
Acoustic version?
You float like a feather
You better be good, dude.
in a beautiful world.
Non-profit is one word, right? Yeah, okay.
This is A-logging. This is fun.
Login fees and upstate. It's pretty vanilla.
This has been our self-esteem stream.
When you were
Public,
here
in-state,
before,
out-of-state, for-profit, non-profit.
couldn't look you in the
Okay.
eye.
Average cost of college, public. This is all going to be in-state. It must be, right?
You're just like an angel.
This.
Your skin
Private
makes me
university.
cry.
No, Destiny wouldn't be a good... I
Float like a feather.
gotta make this off screen.
2023.
What? What is it doing? How am I being annoyed? I have the same tab, the same browser. So the mixing, volume mixing is the same channel. Why am I doing that? Because I didn't think to do it, so I can fix it now. Why is it happening? Because it's the same browser. But Destiny wouldn't be a good secretary, because secretaries are like engineers in that they should be boring, very boring people that are kind of just like, they don't really exist. No shade to engineers, but this is the truth. Engineers are really boring, but that's good because you want stability. And you want somebody who, like, they have a wife, they have a kid, and they live their life and they're boring. And their idea of fun is going to a sports game or watching a movie or playing a video game. Destiny's like a freak. He wouldn't make a good secretary. He's unstable. He's an unstable individual.
Cost of attendance here doesn't include
Somebody like Tim
the cost
Pool
of
would be a
tuition.
good accountant.
Does the cost
Destiny
of
is
attendance here
just,
include the tuition?
Freak.
There's no way that the average
now I can mix
cost
it
of a
properly.
four-year nonprofit is $90,000 per year.
When
Or that
you
it
were
would be
here before,
$54,000 or $55,000 a year in room and board.
couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel.
Tuition is in the cost of
Skin
attendance.
I
makes
kicked out. I'm hiding it for a little bit.
Is it in the
So
cost
you
of
can see
attendance up
Destiny's
here?
genius chat.
Why the tuition be lower or higher than the cost of attendance for a
What's funny too
three-year
is you guys are legit. You guys are retarded, but you're like 1 or 2 standard deviations higher, and you'll have a better outcome in life than every single person in this chat.
And wish I was special.
I'm so confused how they do this.
You're so very special. And I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here?
6,000 people watching this. So really 6,050 is kind of our
I
chat.
don't belong here.
Oh, I guess. Actually, yeah. I'm being stupid here. A cost of tuition for a 2-year in-state is not just going to be half of a 4-year. It's a totally different program.
Should I cover it? Fill the bar tonight. I'll cover the supply.
Yeah, okay.
I'll get my acoustic guitar out.
I'm just not.
I want a perfect.
Oh wait, I gave away my guitar. I gave away my acoustic guitar. I'm a good person.
Destiny getting reality check on private colleges. I'm sorry, you think a private college costs what, $90,000, $100,000 a year to go to? Dude, you're delusional. You've never seen the cost of a single college in your life. You read way too much Reddit.
No, dude.
Go
If
swim
I
in the
was,
sink.
so I got accepted to RPI
Doesn't
and
it define in the
RIT,
next part?
and with
Classification for the
scholarships,
total
it would have been
cost of
something
tuition,
like
books and supplies
$40,000
for
a
those
year.
students living on campus.
That was with scholarships.
Does not include.
And I think it could be higher
transportation
than that,
costs,
dude.
daily
What are you
living
talking
expenses.
about?
Yeah, okay, that's how they.
I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? When I don't
So I'm doing
belong.
total cost.
Yeah, private college is way expensive.
Whoa, whoa, she's running out again. She's running out. She run, 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 run.
Trying to think if I would pull in
Whatever makes you happy.
There's a good chunk of private schools that are in the 60 to 70K for
Whatever you
tuition alone.
want.
Yale tuition costs.
You're so very special.
Yale's tuition is $62,250. Is Yale on the lower end of tuition?
But I'm a creep.
Is Yale considered a cheap school?
I'm a widow.
Or when you say there are a good chunk of private schools that are in the 60 to 70K range, do you mean the most expensive private schools are in the 60 to 70K range?
I don't
Harvard
belong
tuition
here.
cost is $57,000.
I don't belong here.
Plus 27,000 for books on campus, room and board. There's another thing too. So this is, if you're in New York, go to state school, go to a SUNY school. There's a lot of good SUNY schools. UAlbany's good. I went there before I dropped out twice. But generally, go to a state school because state schools in-state tuition is gonna be really cheap usually. I think it was like only like $8,000 a year or something like that. It was some crazy low amount with the minimum financial aid. I could be off on that, but I think it was like $8,000 or maybe per semester, some really low amount actually. And it's still a good deal. Like if you're gonna go for anything, go for state school. And once again, this doesn't apply to people who know it doesn't apply. Like if you have your family and you are connected to people and you're like looped in, ignore this because you're going to ignore it anyway. But everyone else who doesn't know, 100% applies to you. Go to a state school. The only time you really don't want to go to state school is if you're going for some engineering masters or STEM or like
just assume the numbers are coming
some
from
Ivy,
2022.
which you're probably not going to get into. Even then, it's like, but really, unless you're going for like engineering or computer science, then you can try to get into something that's really high tier. Otherwise, almost always, you literally just go to state school because state school is going to be cheap. And at least if you're in New York, the SUNY school system is very good. So I don't know about other schools. Some are probably better, different states. But state school is what you want.
Price of
because
undergraduate institution.
otherwise,
in
it's
academic year
like
2020
really
to
crazy.
2021. Let's see. For a bachelor's, public would be
And also apply for scholarships. Apply, even if you're a white person. Honestly, though, go to community college for your associates.
on campus.
Then realize, go to community college, do your best, and also realize
26.
it's not that tough. All right, you're not competing.
For 4
Your
years.
life, like your social circle, is around your IQ and around your drivenness level. So it's gonna seem like, especially leaving high school, if you're a little driven, that's oh man, it's gonna be tough. Go out of your social circle, go to a community college, and
Where
realize
these guys get their numbers from? We're just copying from.
there's
this.
a lot of
We're just
there's not a
copying
lot of
this. That's
competition.
what we're doing.
Most of the people around you are not competition. Mr. Chan, do you have any cool slinky tricks? Yeah, put it on the stairs and watch it fall down.
At Destiny, how to tell the difference between trauma and
But just apply to-
Finish
apply to
watching your blank
scholarships.
rape review. Main point is defense for the
And
girl
you
on Twitter
don't-
was that
just
victims don't
write-
process trauma they went through
Use
when
ChatGPT
they
to
are in
apply to
denial
a
phase
bunch
and
of
need time.
scholarships.
How would you respond to that? I don't talk to anybody that talks about trauma online because nobody has any fucking idea what trauma means. So it's fucking a waste of fucking time. Not worth it. Meow Mix, thanks for subbing, buddy. My layman's, if I had my layman's understanding of trauma, maybe we could do a trauma research arc. My layman's understanding of trauma would be when you go through a pretty severe thing that like overloads your ability to like your ordinary, I guess, like coping mechanisms. And then if it's really, really bad, you'll be left with a trauma response or post-traumatic stress disorder to where any little stimuli that is reminding you of that particular event will cause a highly irrational or highly maladaptive thing, like response to emerge to a particular stimuli. So let's say somebody beats the shit out of you.
Nope, that's not how it works. The way trauma works is it's information that the brain can't really process properly, and as a result, it rewires itself to ignore certain things, and it reroutes information, and so basically, like it mutilates your brain essentially. Now, it might not be the end of the world. It might not actually hurt you. It might actually help you. Like Gary Busey, he became very funny after getting brain damage, but trauma essentially rewires your brain.
Magically stored trauma in like the spine or some weird woo bullshit. Other people's understanding of trauma, I don't know. Other people, it's just dumb. Don't care. Okay. All right. Let me just copy paste this. Okay. Don't care.
But also, the Balkans don't have any PTSD, dude. This is the funniest thing about people who actually suffered, people who actually have had suffering. Rates of PTSD in Europe. Like, they don't have it. That's why if you talk to Bulgarian, they're always really funny. I love Bulgarians, dude. They're so fun. Every single Bulgarian I've known on the internet, I don't think I've met one in real life, is like their sense of humor is so funny. Give me a, because they actually suffered, because the Balkans actually like really suffered. Dude, where's the chart? You guys ready to see black people? Sweden has gone from having one of the lowest rates of gun violence in Europe to having one of the highest. Describing what one researcher called the social contagion of killings. It's almost like the people who invented guns are the only ones who should be allowed to have guns. Not to be racist, but I think the people who invented guns should be the only race that's allowed to have guns.
Okay. Average total cost of attending degree granting institutions for the first time. Full-time undergraduate students by level and control of institution and student living arrangement. Academic year 2021 to 2022.
Black people comprise most of our gun violence stats. Really, dude? Really? I had no idea. Oh, we got to get more music. What are we watching? Destiny's on Vyvanse. We're watching Crackhead Hour. We're watching
says
the
on
lonely
campus.
the lonely man.
This is gonna mean with that's gonna be room and board.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
First time, full-time undergraduate students. I think
Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number.
The Chinese invented gunpowder. They didn't invent guns, dude.
For example,
What is the nigga even trying to figure out? He's trying to prove Candace Owens wrong because Candace Owens dominated him. We can watch that. That's good. So he's trying to catch her in a lie that she spent money.
Experience you ever know. 'Cause one is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
Yeah, I watched your Candace Owens and also read that article you wrote about how she kept changing the cost of her college tuition. Sometimes it's 100,000, sometimes it's 150,000.
Since you went away.
She
Now I spend my
was
time
too
just making rhymes of yesterday.
Yeah, I saw somebody in the
Even went
Twitter
to
comments
college,
said Candace Owens is the
I
first
don't know
woman
if
to
you
ever
can
cook in
verify
Destiny's
that,
house.
if she actually went.
Well, then there, thanks for 5 minutes. Might be able to answer.
It's been 4 hours. Have I gotten $20?
Yeah,
I got $20. I got $20.
assuming she even went, I think what actually happened, like all the she was pissy about it, and then made up this bullshit about how, oh, colleges for suckers, it's a waste of money, I got into so much debt over it, it was like a huge waste. I think it's a way of coping for the sense of failure. Because Candace, she's one of the first let's be real. And she claimed she was trying to get into Indian journalism. She was like
Inventing Indian. Dude, the whole Arabs invented math thing is not true, dude. Persians did, but also they were European. Like white, like Iranians are the only ones, dude.
journalistic brain. Skills to, deduce information, research, and then she has like these crazy wacko ideas. So I think it's debatable she even attended, but assuming she did, I think she probably maybe went for a few months, quit, because she was too stupid to actually do coursework, and then came up with all this bullshit about how she got into $100,000 to $150,000 worth of debt, pretty weird margin, to lie about.
Why are they pocket watching Candace Owens, dude? Should we watch it? It's so funny. Candace Owens aftermath. Dude, it sucks. Views. What's the Social Blade thing? Dude.
Oh, FAFSA. And she had no idea relating to student aid for what. Yeah, I think that people are saying that the FAFSA was just for the Pell Grant. I could be wrong, or it could have changed. Like maybe I'm legitimately not remembering. I thought you filled out the FAFSA for qualification for almost everything. It wasn't just Pell Grants, right? I thought the FAFSA qualified you for multiple types of aid, and I thought it qualified you for subsidized student loans as well. Yeah, I don't know.
Look at this. So this has got to be the Nick thing, right? Monthly game video. He's heading down. He's getting about as many views. And once you start like basically the way it works is like you get a huge amount of views in the beginning, and then over time it emits like little views here and there because people stumble across your videos. So exponentially, the more videos you're adding, you should exponentially be gaining. But that's not really happening. It is going up, but the trend, if I had to guess, negative views soon. It's over, dude. It's over. He peaked, and now he's on his way out. It's done, dude. Groyper curse. The Groyper curse is really anybody who's dumb enough to interact with Groypers. They're about to make a really bad decision in life. That's really what the Groyper curse is, by the way. It's like when people argue with Beardson. It's not like Beardson is like powerful. It's that they're retarded. they're already making bad decisions. So if somebody argues with Beardson, they're probably the type of person who, or Ralph, somebody who's A-logging Ralph, they're probably a loser. So if you're arguing with Ralph, you're probably a loser. If you actually care, you're probably a loser. And so when you get bent out of shape and you go after Ralph to a personal level, guess what? You're probably cruising for a bruising in terms of like your genetics. You're like destined to, you know, lose. And so that's what the curse is. People who get bent out of shape about groupers, same thing. You're probably a loser if you know about this stuff. If you know about this stuff and you hate it, you're probably a really big loser.
So it was really interesting to hear somebody say that they came from a really poor family but had